There is a strange paradox in our lives. The more we chase after money, the poorer we seem to feel inside. Think about it. Society teaches us from childhood that success is measured by wealth. You are told to study hard so you can get a good job, so you can earn more, so you can buy more. And somewhere along the way, this cycle becomes the measure of your value as a human being. But the truth is, the more we cling to money, the emptier our inner world becomes. Jiddu Krishnamurti often pointed out that desire, when it dominates the mind, is endless. When you desire money, it is not simply about the bills or the coins. It becomes about security, power, recognition, and a sense of importance. But here is the catch. Desire has no end. Once you have a little, you want more. Once you reach a certain level, you look for the next. And in this endless chase, you become trapped. The mind is constantly restless, comparing, competing, measuring. And what is poverty if not this inner hunger that never finds peace? We look at a rich person and assume they must be fulfilled. They live in a mansion, they drive luxury cars, they wear expensive clothes. But if you look closely, many are restless, insecure, and still chasing something more. Their bank accounts may be full, but their hearts are often impoverished. Because no matter how much money you collect, the craving itself leaves you empty. It's like drinking salt water when you are thirsty. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. You might ask, but don't we need money to survive? Of course we do. We need food, shelter, clothing. These are basic necessities. Krishnamurti never denied the importance of practicality. The problem arises when money moves from being a tool for living into the very meaning of life itself. When you equate your worth with your paycheck, when your sense of self depends on the size of your house, when your happiness is tied to the digits in your bank account, you have handed over your inner freedom to something outside of you. And then, what happens? Fear creeps in. The fear of losing what you have, the fear of not having enough, the fear of being seen as a failure. This fear becomes the silent companion of wealth. The more you have, the more you fear. And this fear slowly drains the soul, leaving you fragile, defensive, and endlessly anxious. Think about the people you admire most. Are they the ones with the biggest houses? Or are they the ones with depth, wisdom, kindness, and an inner light that cannot be bought? When you meet someone truly at peace, you sense it immediately. Their presence is calm, steady, and unshaken by the ups and downs of life. They may not own much, but they are not poor. Their wealth lies in the richness of their inner being. Krishnamurti once said that real wealth is the ability to live fully in the present without being bound by desire or fear. And money, though useful, often becomes the chain that ties us to both. So long as your heart is hungry for more, you will never know peace. Look at our modern world. Advertisements scream at us every day, telling us that happiness comes in a box, a car, a vacation, or a bank account. We are conditioned to believe that without these things, we are incomplete. But have you noticed? The moment you buy what you want, the satisfaction fades quickly. A few days later, you are already searching for the next thing. That brief excitement vanishes, and the emptiness returns. This cycle is not wealth. It is poverty, dressed in glitter. To be truly rich is to be free from this endless craving. It does not mean rejecting money or living in poverty. It means seeing money for what it is, a tool, not a treasure. When you use it wisely, it can support life. But when you worship it, it drains life away. So ask yourself honestly, are you chasing money because it gives you freedom? Or are you chasing money because it has become your prison? The man who is free inside may own little, but he does not live in fear. He does not measure his worth against others. He does not cling to possessions as if they define him. He can enjoy the simple things of life without the constant hunger for more. This freedom is wealth. This contentment is richness. And no bank can measure it. The irony is that the more we crave money, the less alive we become. Our days are filled with anxiety, stress, competition, and endless comparison. We forget how to live. We forget how to breathe. We forget the beauty of the present moment. What use is money if you cannot enjoy the simple joy of a quiet evening, the laughter of a child, or the peace of your own mind? Real poverty is not the absence of money. Real poverty is the absence of a still, peaceful, and free heart. And real wealth is not about possessions. Real wealth is about clarity, compassion, and the ability to love without fear. So perhaps the question is not how much money you have, but how much freedom you have from money. Are you the master of it, or is it the master of you? When you begin to look at life through this lens, something changes. You start noticing how often people trade their inner peace for financial gain. A man spends 40 years in a job he despises just to retire with a bigger bank account. A woman sacrifices her health, her relationships, her time, all for a higher salary. And society applauds them. We call them successful. But if you look closely, what kind of success is it when you have everything outside, but feel hollow inside? Krishnamurti asked us to question the very structure of this chase. He would say, why do you seek security in money? Why do you measure yourself by it? And when you sit with these questions, uncomfortable as they may be, you begin to see the trap. We think money will bring freedom, but more often, it binds us tighter. Freedom is not in the number of things you own, but in the absence of the need to cling. Consider the simple moments of your life, sitting under a tree, listening to the sound of the wind, sharing a meal with someone you love. None of these require wealth, and yet they hold more richness than any luxury item could ever provide. Why? Because they connect you with life directly, without the filter of desire, without the weight of comparison. In those moments, you are whole. You do not need to be more, have more, or prove more. But when your mind is constantly calculating, comparing, and grasping, you miss this wholeness. You miss life itself. The hunger for money narrows your vision until all you see is gain and loss, profit and failure, success and defeat. That is not living. That is surviving in a prison made of your own cravings. So what does it mean to live differently? It means to use money wisely but not to let it define you. To earn what is necessary without making it the center of your existence. It means to recognize that real security does not come from what you own, but from understanding yourself, from having clarity, and from living without fear. A person who understands this walks lightly through life. They may work, they may earn, they may even enjoy comfort, but they are not trapped by it. If it disappears, they do not collapse, because their sense of self was never tied to it. That is inner wealth. Imagine what would happen if more of us lived this way. If success was not measured by how much we own, but by how deeply we live. If we raised children not to chase after endless wealth, but to discover the richness of compassion, creativity, and awareness. The world would look very different. Perhaps there would be less competition and more cooperation, less greed and more generosity. Krishnamurti reminded us that the outer world is a reflection of our inner state. A society obsessed with wealth is made up of individuals obsessed with wealth. If we want to change the world, the transformation begins in us. It begins when we stop equating money with happiness, when we stop feeding the endless hunger that can never be satisfied. The truth is simple but difficult to accept. The more you crave money, the poorer you become in spirit. And the more you see money for what it is, just a tool, the richer you become inside. Because you are no longer enslaved. You are free to live, to love, to be. So the invitation is not to reject money, but to see it clearly, to live with it, but not for it, to earn it, but not be owned by it, to use it, but not worship it. When you see money in its rightful place, you step into a kind of wealth that no loss can touch. The wealth of a mind that is free, a heart that is open, and a life that is whole. And perhaps in the end, this is the only wealth worth having. When you start questioning your relationship with money, a subtle awareness arises. You begin to see how every advertisement, every social expectation, every conversation about success is pushing you toward this endless pursuit. And then you ask yourself, do I really need what they are telling me I need? Or am I simply conditioned to want it? This questioning itself is the beginning of freedom. Because the moment you see the game clearly, you are no longer blindly playing it. You realize that wealth without understanding is just another form of poverty. A bigger house cannot make a small mind larger. A larger paycheck cannot fill an empty heart. Only awareness, only clarity can do that. And once you taste this clarity, money loses its power over you. It becomes practical, not psychological. It serves life, but it does not dominate life. And in that shift, something extraordinary happens. You begin to feel rich even in simplicity. You begin to feel abundant even when you own little. Because your wealth is not in things, but in the depth of your being. In the end, the question is not about how much money you can make, but whether you can live without being enslaved by it. True wealth is not stored in banks or hidden in vaults. It is found in the stillness of the mind, in the freedom to love without fear, in the courage to live without comparison. When the hunger for money fades, life itself becomes richer. You begin to see beauty in the ordinary, peace in simplicity, and joy in connection. And this richness cannot be taken away, no matter the balance of your account. So perhaps the real success is not the size of your fortune, but the depth of your spirit. The world may applaud wealth, but only you can know whether you are truly rich inside. And that inner richness, that is the only treasure worth seeking.